So hello guys, welcome back to my channel where you get to know AWS better. So today we are going to discuss about AWS EC2, Elastic Compute Cloud. Elastic Compute Cloud is nothing, it's just a on-demand, scalable compute capacity provided to you on cloud by AWS. It's a virtual server where you can host your applications and web applications. It's nothing but just a computer put on a cloud where you don't have to worry about resources. You can customize them. So in this way, EC2 provides you a compute capacity on cloud. So why we use EC2? We use EC2 to cut on hardware cost, where it also provides you very customization, where you can customize it on compute, memory, storage. It also handles the varying requirements of users. For example, you need a host which can suddenly scale up or scale down. And in this way, it also cuts your maintenance cost. For example, you have a website where it suddenly gets a huge spike. So your physical host would not be able to provide you that compute capacity or memory capacity because it has restriction on the physical resources. But where you have the resources on cloud, AWS handles the sudden spikes and it also provides you different resources without any human intervention. So now let's understand where does EC2 resides and how we can access it. As you can see, we have this blue rectangular box as region. So AWS provides you different regions which can help you to cater the compliance requirements. For example, your website holds the payment related information. So there might be a compliance from your government that you can't store a particular information about payments of customers in a different region. So that kind of requirements, and it also provides you less latency. For example, you need your application to run it in India. So you can use your instances in Mumbai region or any region within India. So this is that region. And now in that region, with this green box, we can say it's a VPC. It's virtual private cloud. AWS is itself a very huge cloud. Okay. Now give me a very secure and your private cloud. So there comes the VPC, virtual private cloud. In that VPC, we put our resources. In that, inside this VPC, we need different availability zones because it provides us higher availability of our website and application. In case any availability zone gets down, then other availability zones can cater our base. Under that, AWS also provides us different kind of subnets. Whereas this is we are using public subnet because our EC2 instance need to be accessible from the internet. So that's why we are using public subnet here. Then we will recite our EC2 instance inside a security group. Security group is a kind of rule book where you define rules. For example, which kind of uh, IP ranges can access our EC2 instance. So this is where this security groups helps us to define different rules. Any EC2 instance can have multiple security groups, and multiple security groups can be associated with multiple EC2 instances to provide them all the rules there are in a particular security group. We also had the EDS volume. This is Elastic Block Store. So EDS volumes are used for multiple reasons. We are going to discuss all these in a detail in the later part of this video. So I'm going to cover it there. We also have the AMI, which is Amazon Machine Image. It's kind of an image of all the specifications you have provided for a particular instance. It kind of store what kind of uh, storage we need, what kind of operating system you are going to use. So it stores all kind of information there, and you can also share it so that different instances can use the same type of specifications. So now let's discuss about instance. Instance is basically what we have discussed a lot. It's your virtual server. It's where you're going to host your application. This instance, when you create it, you can choose instance type. This instance type defines what kind of configurations you're going to get. These configurations are customizable as we have discussed. These are customizable on CPU, the compute capacity, on memory, on storage, on network, and also on the graphics requirement we have. These instances have resources. These all are resources. Now, there are two types of resources: dedicated resources, and then comes the shared resources. Dedicated resources are reserved for a particular instance, whereas shared resources can be shared on multiple resources. So, resources like CPU, memory storage, are directly related to the compute capacity we are expecting from our instance. So, that's why they are always dedicated. They are not shared among the instances. Whereas network and disk subsystems, which basically handles the disk management. So, these are the shared resources because they don't directly affect our compute. For shared resources, if there is a particular instance which is trying to use any particular resource as much as possible, then that particular resource is shared among all equal. But if a resource is underused, then a particular instance can use it in a higher level. So now let's discuss about instance naming convention. You must have seen on AWS EC2 while choosing any particular instance that they have the name something like this in red, where each different character means something else. So anything which is before the stop is instance pending, and anything which comes after the stop is instance size. These two things combine and make the instance type for us. Now, if we talk about the instance pending, about instance sizes, quite obvious. In instance pending, first, we have the series. So we can have a different series here. So C here it means that this particular instance is purpose very for how compute. Now then comes the generation of that particular series. So this is the seventh generation. Now this particular instance will have better compute capacity, and this is the seventh generation of that. Then comes options. This we have the GA here. These can be different options. There are multiple options provided. Here you can see in the later part of this video. So let's move on. Let's discuss Amazon Machine Images, AMI. AMI is just an image which provides us the software which is required to move our instance. It's just like the OS operating system we use in our computers and in our mobiles. It's just like that. It also contains the blocks device mapping. Now, what are block devices? We discussed about the EDS volume above. So these are those mappings or those volumes. So these can be SSDs and hard drives. There are different kinds of EDS. We also use the EDS to store this particular OS. And this AMI contains the mapping each EDS. What does that EDS contains? So that's why we use this mapping and AMI provides us. AMI can be of different types. One that is AWS provided, which is provided by AWS to us. And there are public ANR. It's a AMI which someone else is shared with you. So you can use the particular AMI to create your instance where you will have the same configuration as that particular person is having on their instance. Then there are purchased AMI also. You can buy the AMIs from Amazon marketplaces. So those AMIs might be better suitable for any particular use case. You can, I think, buy them as per the use case. Now, we can launch multiple instances with a single AMI, as we have discussed in the public AMI. So, public AMIs are specifically for that purpose only. For that, someone else can use an AMI to launch their instance. So, yeah, AMI can be used to launch multiple instances if we want to have the same configuration in all the instances. AMI can also be created from the existing VCP. For example, I have a particular configuration and I want to provide the configuration with you. Then I can create the AMI from my EC2 and I can share that AMI as a public AMI. Then comes a very major part which is provided by AWS to us, which is security. Security of the cloud is AWS's responsibility at how they are securing their AWS cloud altogether. But security in the cloud is our responsibility. We can definitely control the access to our instances using VPC and security as we discussed above. We can also manage the credentials we use to connect with our instances. For example, the key pairs, public and private keys, which are provided to us by EC2. We will discuss that later. And we can also configure the IAM roles. These roles will contain the policies and permissions associated to those policies so that a person having that IAM role can only change anything on our IAM. So now how we can secure our resources, let's discuss that in a minute. Let's first discuss about how we can restrict the access using VPC and security groups. Security groups can be considered as a rule book where you can define different rules. For example, uh, if we have SG1, for example, we have one security group which allows us certain ranges of IP addresses which can allow HTTP network. Then we have separate SG group which can allow HTTPS network from certain addresses. Now we can use both of these security groups to host a particular instance, and then that particular instance will only allow the traffic from these addresses with these network types. These security groups can be associated with multiple instances, and each instance can have the multiple security groups. Uh, this example I've just given you, where we can have both the security groups SG1 and SG2 for a particular instance. So then comes the VPC, which we have already did once. It is virtual private cloud. This must be cloud network hill. So now let's consider, if I give you an example, let's consider about a huge building, which is AWS stores. And now we are renting upper one apartment unit, which is VPC. In this apartment, we can define who will enter and from where they will enter. Where will be the door, what resources I want to put in that particular apartment. This all we can define. So this is why VPC is used, where you can be the owner of a specific part of a whole thing. So now let's discuss the example how VPC and SG works together to provide us the security. So consider this bigger rectangular cake as a VPC. And in this VPC, we have two different subnets. One is public subnet, then comes the private subnet. Now consider a use case where we want the application which will be dealing with data in DB. Now we don't want this DB to be accessible through the public internet. Only our web application can access this DB. So that's why it's in private subnet. And in the security group too, we can define that only the IP addresses belong to our SG1 and EC2 can access this DB. In this public subnet, in this SG1, we can define what public IP addresses can access the EC2. So consider we only allow the HTTPS network to access this particular EC2. So in this way, both VPC and SG1 provides us multiple layering of routes so that we can control the access to all resources. Now let's discuss how we can manage our key pair. These key pairs are basically generated when we are launching the instance. These key pairs allow us to securely connect with our instance because we need to access our instance, right? Because we will propose our code onto that. So when we access this EC2, we need to provide these key pairs so that EC2 can authenticate us and then provide us the access to connect with it. During the first boot, the public key of this key pair is stored in this particular instance and under this part, which is authorized keys. Then when we use and when we need to connect with instance, we provide the private key, which it is our responsibility to manage the key securely in our code base so that when we use it, it doesn't get misused. Then EC2 will check these details and will let us connect with it so that we can make amendments in there. So now let's discuss how we can manage access using IAM. IAM is Identify and Access Management, which helps the administrator to securely control who can access the AWS resources. IAM lets you control who can be users, roles, and applications can access which AWS resource. For example, you can assign an IAM role to an EC2 instance, and that EC2 instance can have the access to S3 buckets, or it can has had the access to push the logs to CloudWatch. We can also create policy in IAM to define read-only access on the database, and can also specify which roles can have that policy and who can assume that particular role. In this way, we can define that who can make changes in our AWS resources, who can customize our AWS resources. So this is the way where IAM helps us to manage this access. So now I'm wrapping up on security. We got to know that VPC handles network isolation and security hooks provides its firewall. TPS lets us access the instance, and IAM rules define who can do work on particular resource. So now let's discuss about a very special feature provided to us by AWS in EC2. EC2 comes with Fleets. Fleet is designed to launch multiple instances together, where each instance in a fleet can be customized using a launch template or by a set of launch parameters that we can configure manually. Features that Fleet provides us is that a fleet can launch multiple instances types together, irrespective of any particular type availability. This ensures there is always instances in our fleet which can cater our requests. And Fleet automatically distributes our instances in multiple availability zones. This ensures that our service is always highly available. And in case any particular available zone is experiencing any failure, then it won't affect our use case. Fleet also checks if your fleet contains of any spot instances. Then it automatically replaces your instances if it apprehends that any particular spot instance can be booked. Spot instances are used for cutting cost because spot instances are those instances which are not getting used. These are not dedicated instances for you. We use these instances because you don't want to spend that much, and these instances are now dedicated to you. You don't have a use case with a very high availability, so these are the instances which you can use. Now let's discuss about the cost optimization. To optimize cost in EC2, we can choose different instances. Let's discuss on-demand instances. For these instances, you pay by the second after you have launched one. Each second you are using them, you are paying for that particular instance. So this is one of the way to cut your costs. When you know that your website will not have a regular traffic, but when traffic comes, you need it to be catered. So in that case, you can use these instances. Then comes the reserved instances. If you are ready to commit for a particular configuration type and including the AWS region host. So for that, of a longer period, 1 or 3 years. So in this case, you can use the reserved instances. This also provides you a very good cost bracket because you are not changing and not customizing it on a regular basis or committing to a particular instance. So in that case, we can use reserved instances. Then comes the spot instances we had discussed above. These instances are unused instances from EC2 right now. But these instances can be taken back from you. And as we discussed in the Fleet mechanism, Fleet will automatically changes the spot instance for you. So these instances are not permanent. So if your use case doesn't have a high availability requirement, then you can use an instance. Then comes a dedicated course. Now, dedicated course is a physical device used from here. You will not have that hassle that where the shared resources will be shared among multiple instances. these resources will be used for your instances only. So this will be a dedicated physical post only. So that's all for VC2 today. And if you like this video, then please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And get tuned to our channel to know more about AWS. Thank you.